Tonight on CTV News at 6, jumping the gun on a referendum question. A government committee derailed by a premature press release.
If government wants to convert a policy question into a referendum question, it will have consequences.
We submitted all the tickets that have been sold, but we never get our part.
Local businesses suffering from a beer fest hangover.
We want to work with people, and having, long-term success requires patience.
And
a cannabis-friendly, community-friendly, simple coffee shop.
Plans for a cannabis cafe in Old Strathcona.
A little bit of a warming trend on the way as daytime highs get back to around 20 for the rest of the week and the coming weekend.
CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Jeff Hastings.
Good evening. The UCP government's move to add a separation question to this fall's referendum may have been stifled by its own misstep. Just as a bipartisan committee was discussing the motion to add the question, the UCP caucus issued a press release stating it had already been approved. Jeremy Thompson was in that meeting when it happened and joins us in studio now. Jeremy, what led to this moment?
Well, Jeff, it really was a remarkable moment. A number of veteran Ledge reporters told me they'd never seen anything like it. Same goes for the man the committee was meeting to hear from. Thomas Lukaszak, of course, has years of experience in the legislature as well. He was there to answer clarifying questions about his Forever Canada petition. Before the whole preemptive press release debacle, the UCP committee members argued Forever Canadians' question should go to referendum because that's what people were told would happen when they signed last summer.
Their public communications clearly presented the initiative as one intended to lead to a referendum.
We didn't advance this question. You did advance this question. Why did you mislead them?
This wasn't the only petition making the rounds, of course. A judge recently dismissed an effort by Stay Free Alberta to put a pro-separation question to Albertans. That was deemed unconstitutional because the group did not consult First Nations. Premier Danielle Smith called it an error in law that her government would appeal. Lukaszak believes today's meeting was a way to avoid that potentially lengthy court process to get separation proceedings on the referendum ballot on October 19th anyway.
As a citizen, I am insulted. And I think the 400-some thousand Albertans who signed this petition, frankly, and the separatist petition, should be insulted too. Because this was just a theater.
The UCP is a separatist party. They were determined to have a referendum on separatism for the past year, and they've done everything they could to make sure that that happens.
And Minister Jason Nixon says the UCP is not a separatist party. He says, like the Premier, he believes in a sovereign Alberta within a united Canada. In the end, the committee did not vote, so no recommendation to put the question to a referendum was made. However, just minutes ago, the committee updated its schedule. It will aim to wrap up this issue tomorrow afternoon before the Premier's scheduled televised address. Jeff?
All right. Thank you, Jeremy. Jeremy Thompson live for us tonight. 2 UCP ministers have resigned from cabinet ahead of a shuffle. Finance Minister Nate Horner says he'll be stepping down from his role. Hospital and Surgical Health Services Minister Matt Jones says he'll also be stepping back from cabinet. Neither will seek re-election. Both reaffirmed their support for the party and said they'll continue serving as MLAs in their respective ridings until the next election. New members of cabinet will be sworn in at the legislature tomorrow morning. Edmonton police have seized more than $8 million worth of cocaine as part of a national drug trafficking investigation. Edmonton police say they worked with Winnipeg Police and Parkland RCMP on the 2-year investigation. In February, Alberta officers executed a search warrant at 109th Street and Jasper Ave. In addition to cocaine, officers found meth, a buffing agent, a gun and ammunition, and around $30,000 in cash. A 26-year-old man is facing drug and weapons charges. Across Canada, 33 people have been arrested and 174 charges laid in connection with the investigation. Some local hospitality businesses have a warning for others. They say they're still owed thousands of dollars for taking part in last year's Edmonton Beer Fest. As Evan Kenny reports, this year's fest is just weeks away and it's unclear what it will look like.
Christopher Necessito is opening his food truck, hoping this time he'll make some money. He brought his business to the Edmonton International Beer Fest last year, expecting to make thousands of dollars in profit. Instead,
we sold our product through tickets. At the end of the day, we submitted all the tickets that have been sold, but we never get our part.
Necessito says a contract was signed with Beerfest stating he would walk away with 60% of his sales. He thought he'd get close to $7,000. Instead, he's down about $5,000.
You know what? I'm hopeless for that. We're not actually thinking of getting that anymore.
This was the worst experience I could have asked for.
Chris Harvey's two bars, the Alfred and Church of John, were also vendors at last year's Beer Fest.
We're looking at close to $15,000 to $20,000 potentially in revenue that we've invested that we didn't get any return on.
Beerfest's founder says it's not his fault they weren't paid. He says the issues stem from businesses not having the proper documents or communicating with the festival.
That usually means that there's something that, didn't follow the way it was supposed to, and or we weren't aware of something, or that they were operating outside the confines of what they were registered as.
The businesses say they had all the proper licensing and registration required by last year's venue. An email chain between the festival and vendors shows Beerfest had no issues with the service provided, and it was waiting on grants to pay back businesses.
We want to work with people, and having, long-term success requires patience.
Necessito says the process of getting paid has taken too much time and resources, and he's giving up. Now he's warning other businesses.
You might end up being a victim like us.
Beerfest says it is streamlining communications for this year's event. It runs June 4th to 9th at Churchill Square. We are waiting for confirmation of which vendors will be there. Evan Kenny, CTV News, Edmonton.
A new cafe coming to White Avenue wants to become the center of cannabis culture in Edmonton and hopes to one day not only sell the stuff but allow customers to consume it too. As Curtis Goodrum reports, that aspect is unlikely to get the province's approval.
Cannabis stores selling a variety of products are common in Edmonton. Now one business owner believes there's room for something new.
It just didn't make sense for us not to have something like that here.
That something is a cannabis lounge, a place how copes people who enjoy the substance can meet, chat, and become friends.
A cannabis-friendly, community-friendly, simple coffee shop and simple restaurant and cafe that is very friendly and very set up within the cannabis community.
Hauk says while the new Amsterdam Cafe is considered pot-friendly, customers are not actually allowed to buy or consume cannabis on site. He hopes lawmakers can change that so his customers can enjoy edibles and infused drinks.
We're hoping that very soon, or sometime soon, AGLC and Alberta legislation will catch up and allow a cannabis lounge where we can then sell the products and consume them safely in the same space.
In a statement, Service Alberta Minister Dale Nally says cannabis consumption spaces such as cafes or lounges are prohibited, and at this time there are no plans to change this. In a statement, the City of Edmonton says if the province chooses to allow cannabis lounges to operate in Alberta, they will need time to go through their own engagement and consultation process.
White Ave has historically always been the wicked and weird place in Edmonton.
Area Councillor Michael Jans is interested in the idea if it gets provincial and municipal approval.
I think we're seeing changes in drinking cultures, changes in demographics, changes in people's habits. If this is something new that takes off, that could work, I'm interested to see it.
We have to wait for that legislation to catch up before we can start offering those products to our customers.
The new Amsterdam Cafe is aiming to open in early June. Curtis Goodrum, CTV News, Edmonton.
A new facility in Edmonton will make it easier for you to sort your recycling while also keeping more material out of the landfill.
The facility will have close to 20 optical sorters, so that it uses a lot of technology versus the historical way of recycling, which was a lot of manual sorting labor, which is challenging roles to fill.
Waste Management says the new technology will improve sorting accuracy. Materials that pass the recycling test will be sent to packaging producers and turned into products. In October, the province will begin recycling even more material, including glass containers, styrofoam, aerosol containers, laminated paper, and more.
People are busy these days. They don't have time to try and figure out what can or can't be put in recycling. So having one standardized list across the province is going to make it so much simpler for them and hopefully encourage more people to recycle.
Half of Alberta's residential recycling will come through this facility when it opens early next year. To To celebrate Paramedic Services Week, Edmonton emergency crews opened up their headquarters hoping to support paramedic students on their career path. Connor Hogg has more.
A hands-on experience helping future first responders figure out where they want to go.
This is an opportunity for paramedic students from all the different faculties around the city here to come in and see, what a career without paramedic health can look like. I think it's really important for us to demonstrate those avenues to these students.
Crews that operate on the ground and in the air are showing potential new paramedics the ropes. Alexa Podolecki says she never got this kind of experience herself.
I've been doing this for just about 10 years now, and it's really nice engaging with all of them because this is how the industry grows, right?
Finding the right fit is important for a job that can have a heavy burden.
We're getting very intimate experiences with people on their worst days, and we're the sense of control, we're the calm that shows up when things are otherwise chaotic. We're running the show, we're calling the shots, we're making the diagnosis, we're providing the treatments, and I think that in and of itself is very unique. It's a level of responsibility that is heavy at times, but equally as rewarding.
You experience bad days and good days. Sometimes it feels like when it rains it's pours, but I think it's really important to have a grounded mindset and to have things in your life that fulfill you or that make you feel happy.
Podolecki says despite the difficulties, the career can be very rewarding, just like today's experience.
To be the person that you look up to or to move into some version of that and get to be that for somebody else, I think that's one of the reasons that we do it.
Providing support to the province's paramedics of tomorrow. Connor Hogg, CTV News, Edmonton.
The Edmonton Riverhawks have unveiled a new Indigenous logo for the 2026 season. The team says 20% of all merchandise sales featuring the logo will go towards the Bent Arrow Traditional Healing Society. The proceeds will support cultural programming and ceremonial opportunities through Bent Arrow. Local Métis and Cree artist Conrad Plews designed the logo. He says he wanted to invoke a feeling of moving water and incorporate elements similar to Indigenous beadwork. The Riverhawks will wear jerseys featuring the new logo for the home opener and Indigenous celebration next Friday, the 29th. The city of St. Albert is getting ready to put on its first night market. It will bring local businesses, food, and entertainment together along Perron Street. The city's Downtown Business Association says it's a way to help local businesses.
A lot of the businesses in the downtown area are local small business owners, and we thought, why don't we do stuff like have some more events, bring some more awareness to the local businesses that are downtown, because it's tough being a small business owner.
DBA says they hope to build off the success of the outdoor farmers market and put on the night market regularly. The opening of Wauquentuin Outdoor Pool has been pushed back a day because of the rain. It was supposed to open today.
The weather's not cooperating. Looking at the forecast, it looks like tomorrow will be a much better day for our first day of kicking off our 2026 outdoor pool season.
The next pool scheduled to open after Wauquentuin is Mill Creek on Saturday. The city says the weekend forecast looks warmer and sunnier than today. Swimmers like Mayor Andrew Knack will now need to wait at least one day longer before diving in.
This is you from a couple of years ago opening up the city pools. Wauquentuin opens today. Will you be taking a dive later today?
I wasn't offered that option. I don't know. Maybe because if you look at that, that's embarrassing. So they're like, we don't need the mayor on camera doing that anymore.
Queen Elizabeth Pool is scheduled to open May 30th. Fred Broadstock and Borden Outdoor Pools will open in June. A little bit chilly to jump in an outdoor pool today, I think.
Yeah, cloudy, a little breezy through this afternoon. We only got to 12 for a daytime high today. A little cooler than the 14 we thought we might get to. If you take a look at current temperatures, we're still sitting at 12. 10 south of the city, a little windier there as well. Wind gusting close to 40 kilometers per hour. We've had gusts off and on in the 30, 35 kilometer per hour range in downtown Edmonton today. 18 is the average daytime high. We'll get back to about 18 or 19 for a high tomorrow, and even warmer as we make our way through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It will be a lot cooler tomorrow morning, though. It was 6 degrees this morning. Tomorrow morning, we'll be close to the freezing mark. There's the shot from the CTV drone. You can see a little bit of blue starting to poke through the clouds after a mostly cloudy day today. We'll see more of that clearing as the evening goes on. And so after a cool day today with skies clearing out overnight tonight, There's a risk of frost for outlying areas. In the city, I think we'll stay frost-free. There's a couple of sprinkles that move through parts of the city. Certainly no heavy rain. Most of the shower and thunderstorm activity has been in northeastern Alberta and across parts of southern Alberta. You can see there's not much coming our way for tonight. I think we'll just see some clearing through the mid-evening hours. Sunshine and about 2 degrees in the city tomorrow morning. Do have frost advisories, though, south and west of the city. We'll show you that in a couple minutes. 19 and mostly cloudy with light wind tomorrow afternoon. Return to the low to mid-20s for Friday and Saturday. We'll take a closer look at that in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Josh. Still ahead, the Prime Minister's message on major projects.
We don't want to hear what people are against. We want to hear what they're for.
Mark Carney standing behind an MOU with Alberta after BC's premier said he was too focused on separatist premiers. Also next.
We want to be part of the solution. We can't be all of the solution.
Some Alberta emergency responders pushing back as they face seeing their pay cut nearly in half.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
The Prime Minister was in British Columbia today pushing Ottawa's priorities, including a new West Coast pipeline. BC Premier David Eby voiced concerns about Canada not working if what he calls separatist premiers get all the attention. CTV's Michael Couture has more.
The Prime Minister is a friend to British Columbia.
BC's Premier struck a friendlier tone standing next to Prime Minister Mark Carney. It came a day after David Eby said Canada won't work if separatist premiers get all the attention, a reference to Alberta and Ottawa moving forward on the plan for a bitumen pipeline to the West Coast.
Developing our economy has to go hand in hand with environmental protection for the next generation, including the North Coast tanker ban. That is crucially important for British Columbians.
Carney pointed out 1/3 of the projects identified as in the national interest are in BC, and that the two leaders are on the same page. But an hour earlier at the Vancouver Board of Trade, Carney made it clear he's looking for partners, not pushback.
We don't want to hear what people are against. We want to hear what they're for. And if you're for something, we will get behind you.
Carney's challenge is to try and sell that message while balancing the competing interests of each province.
I think what he's doing is he's saying, look, we are going to establish rules that will propel forward major projects, create jobs, and generate benefits for each province, for each part of the country.
A part of that balance includes working with provinces like Saskatchewan to apply the industrial carbon tax. While Premier Moe refuses to collect the levy, he's open to discussions on it.
To see if we can come to some type of an agreement that works for industry and doesn't impact negatively the industries that are creating jobs and making investments just like this in this province.
Carney and Eby agreed to start negotiations on BC's economic priorities. However, the Prime Minister also told that Vancouver business crowd if things get stalled there, his government will spend time in the rest of the country because they need to move forward. Mike Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
A former Conservative MP and retired Air Force member says the impact of grounding Canada's Snowbirds will be felt in Alberta. After more than 50 years of flying, the federal government says the Snowbirds will be temporarily grounded. Replacement aircraft are expected to arrive in the early 2030s. The Snowbirds are based in Moose Jaw, but many of the pilots and ground support crew receive training at Four-Wing Cold Lake. Laurie Hahn says stopping the Snowbirds takes away a career path.
It takes away one of the things that people in the military, pilots and ground crew, can aspire to. I mean, being a member of the Snowbirds, either in the air or on the ground, is a pretty cool thing to do, to have on your resume, so to speak. So it's something that people aspire to. I wanted to join the Snowbirds one year. My wife said no, but that's another story.
Department of National Defence says it plans to replace the Royal Canadian Air Force fleet with the CT-157 Siskin II. Lethbridge paramedics are being asked to take a significant pay cut to retain that city's integrated fire EMS model. City administration has proposed a 40% wage cut to align with provincial rates. In Lethbridge, an advanced care paramedic firefighter makes 17% more than the provincial rate. For primary care paramedic firefighters, the difference is 39%. The Local Firefighters Union says people in these positions are trained for 2 jobs, medical and firefighting, and should be fairly compensated. While the union rejected the first offer, it says it is willing to negotiate.
We want to be part of the solution. We can't be all of the solution. I think it's unfair to ask our members to be the entire solution, but we are willing to work with the city to be part of that solution.
Lethbridge is one of several municipalities issued an ultimatum by the province. In order to keep their integrated services, they have to pay an additional $3.7 million a year. Lethbridge's mayor says the city can't afford that, so it's also searching for a cheaper contracted service. Alberta is getting a new welcome sign. The Transportation Ministry released this image of what the sign will look like. It replaces the Wild Rose Country slogan with Strong and Free. The old signs have been around for more than 40 years. 22 signs will be installed at provincial border crossings at a cost of about $3.5 million. Crews will start replacing the signs this fall. Still ahead, a local soccer player's dream comes true.
Like, it hasn't fully really kicked in yet that it's what's happened has happened.
How an 18-year-old Edmontonian went from local clubs to a World Cup team.
And Ryan always had those attributes that always wanted to get better. So I believe the Tunisian national team probably saw this guy as a guy for the future. So let's start investing in him now.
It was a cool day today, and with skies set to clear overnight tonight, it'll be a chilly start to the day tomorrow. Back into some warmer temperatures, though, by tomorrow afternoon and for the next couple of days. Full look at your 5 to 10 day forecast right after the break.
Programming brought to you by Century Casino. 3 great locations: Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
A local soccer player is preparing to take part in the sport's biggest tournament this summer. Rayan Eloumi was named to the Tunisia roster. As Nerman Issa reports, the 18-year-old credits his success to his time in Edmonton.
Like, it hasn't fully really kicked in yet that it's what's happened has happened.
Rayan Eloumi is still in disbelief after he was named to Tunisia's World Cup roster last week.
It's almost always felt like a dream that was like a little bit far out of reach, but now that it's happened, it's kind of like, dang, I actually did it.
Eloumi, who is of Tunisian descent, was born in St. Albert and raised in Edmonton. He now lives in Vancouver and plays for the Whitecaps of the Major League Soccer. The 18-year-old says he didn't think he would make Tunisia's 26-man roster.
I always thought it was a little bit crazy, but then over my progression over the last kind of 12 months, gave me a little bit more confidence.
Eloumi played youth soccer with Juventus Soccer Club and BTB Soccer in Edmonton.
I was excited and I was very happy for him because I knew that was a goal of his to play in the World Cup.
His former coach says he knew from the start Eloumi had what it took to make it to the big stage.
Most coaches at the highest level, they look at the character, right? Are you coachable? Are you willing to learn? Are you someone they can work with? And Ryan always had those attributes that always wanted to get better. So I believe the Tunisian national team probably saw this guy as a guy for the future. So let's start investing in him now.
Eloumi says he hopes to follow in the footsteps of another Edmonton footballer, Alphonso Davies.
He's a huge inspiration because he came from the same place that I came from. He took a very similar path that I took, and he was kind of the first one to really make it out. So hopefully that can be the next.
This year's World Cup is hosted by Canada, the U.S., and Mexico. The tournament is one of the biggest sporting events of all time. Tunisia's first match is June 14th in Mexico. Nerman Issa, CTV News, Edmonton.
Does that mean we have 2 teams to cheer for now?
I think so. Yeah, we
There's
can
a lot of
we can
Canadians
handle
that have 2 teams to cheer for, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, a heritage one and then Canada.
Yeah.
Take a look outside at still mostly cloudy skies. They're starting to see a few breaks in that cloud cover, though. The River Valley Skycam is brought to you by Action Furnace. Fixed right or it's free. 12 degrees. Thought we'd get to 14 today. Just did not get there. The clouds just hung in all day and didn't break at all. 15 in Fort McMurray as well as Jasper for daytime highs. Get to 18 in Grand Prairie. Cold Lake, a little warmer at 19, although you've had some thunderstorms in the area here for the last couple of hours. Watch this cool green and yellow area just disappear by tomorrow. there's the warm-up that starts to take place. Looks like it'll be even warmer across parts of the north and northeastern sections of the province. There's Friday, still pretty good, and there is Saturday. That, at least for us here in Edmonton, looks to be the warmest day in the next 5 to 7. You got a couple days next week that could be in that 24, maybe 25-degree range. Big thing here, though, look at how temperatures are average or above average right through the next week and a half. So we knew today was going to be our one cool day. Didn't think it would be as cool as it was, but this is still pretty steady pattern from what we've been expecting for the past little while. There's a couple sprinkles that moved through parts of the city earlier in the day today. Really didn't amount to all that much. As we said earlier, most of the activity has been across southern Alberta, where you've had some showers and thunderstorms, even some small hail. Across the northeast, you've had some thunderstorms. And look at this unique little movement that we got here. You got this twist down to the south. Nice little area, low pressure down there, and then an opposing airflow across the north. And so these are moving back to the west. You see some of those showers and thunderstorms starting to roll into the Elk Point region. North of Cold Lake, they're not really moving all that much. So you're getting poured on in that area. And then these ones here are dropping to the south through areas just off to the west, northwest of Fort McMurray. Those will all start to fizzle out, I think, over the course of the next couple of hours. And this risk of funnel clouds will break up over the next couple of hours. Here's your chance of frost. Red Deer, Big Valley, through Rocky Mountain House, and all the way up into the White Court area. Most areas are going to see temperatures around or 2 or 3 degrees below zero. I don't think there's going to be too many spots to see really hard killing frost. In Edmonton, there's your clearing overnight, so we get some sunshine tomorrow morning, and then cloud cover increases, maybe a few scattered showers, thunderstorms up in the Peace Country, and possibly in east central and northeastern Alberta, some spotty precipitation late in the day tomorrow as well. It's 12 degrees in Edmonton right now, still 18 in Grand Prairie, 14 in Lloydminster. We'll drop to about 2 in the city. If you're inside the Henday, you should be frost-free. If you're outside the Henday, you got plants that you're concerned about, maybe cover them up. We will start the day sunny, though, to go along with those cool temperatures. By lunchtime, we're back into the mid-teens and close to 20 in the afternoon. 21 Friday, chance of a late day scattered shower or thunderstorm. Saturday, 24 and partly cloudy, and then maybe some late day hit and miss showers Sunday, Monday. No real heavy, steady rain in the forecast, just some spotty precipitation occasionally over the next couple of days.
Okay, thanks, Josh. Coming up, World Cup cost.
It's a shocking amount of money, and when you do the math, it works out to nearly $1 million per minute of regulation game time.
The hit to Canadian taxpayers to host part 1 of the world's largest sporting events, and
charging Raul Castro and several others with conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals.
Former president of Cuba indicted by the United States.
Programming brought to you by Basement Systems Edmonton. Contact us today for all things basementy. Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Health officials in Ontario say one person is in hospital and being tested for the Ebola virus. Ontario's Ministry of Health says the patient is being assessed after recently returning from East Africa. Out of an abundance of caution, tests are also being done for other possible infectious diseases. The ministry is also reiterating there are no confirmed cases of Ebola in Ontario. Earlier today, Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister said Ottawa is very closely monitoring the spread of Ebola virus in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda.
Global Affairs Canada is not aware of any Canadians affected by the Ebola virus outbreak in the DRC or Uganda. Consular officials are standing ready to provide assistance to those who are requesting it.
The federal government is advising Canadians not to travel to the area hit by the rare type of Ebola, which has no vaccine or approved treatments. The current outbreak has killed 139 people. The WHO says a potential vaccine would not be available for 6 to 9 months. We're getting a clearer picture of how much Canadians are paying to host FIFA World Cup matches beginning next month. According to a federal report, taxpayers will spend more than $1 billion. CTV's Andrew Johnson reports.
With the transformation of Vancouver and Toronto into World Cup cities just about complete, something else is also being unveiled thanks to Canada's federal budgetary watchdog. How much it's all going to cost? Just over $1 billion to host 13 games in June and July.
That's a shocking amount of money, and when you do the math, it works out to nearly $1 million per minute of regulation game time.
Or roughly $82 million per game, which is actually less than Russia spent to host in 2018, Brazil in 2014, and South Africa in 2010. But one sports economist points out, with Canada co-hosting alongside the U.S. and Mexico, what we're paying for doesn't quite compare.
Well, we're not getting any of the major elimination matches. We thought that if we were hosting the World Cup, we would actually see something of consequence.
The report indicates close to $500 million for FIFA is coming from Ottawa, the rest from provincial and local governments, to pay for things like security, infrastructure, and stadium upgrades. FIFA estimates a multi-billion-dollar economic benefit for Canada. BC's premier last week predicted the tournament will bring 1 million visitors to Vancouver over the next 5 years. The mayor has led the charge.
This is an amazing opportunity. It's going to be a month-long commercial.
Critics claim otherwise.
I've been saying for 8 years now, give or take, that we were sold a false bill of goods, not by FIFA, but by our politicians.
How do Canadians feel? Well, the latest polling from Leger showed close to 3/4 of Canadians support hosting World Cup matches, but a majority indicated their biggest concern is taxpayer costs. And the final number isn't in yet. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
The U.S. Department of Justice has filed an indictment against former Cuban President Raul Castro for a deadly attack on 2 planes in 1996.
Charging Raul Castro and several others with conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals.
5 co-defendants and the 94-year-old younger brother of former Cuban dictator Fidel Castro are also charged with the destruction of an aircraft and 4 additional counts of murder. 30 years ago, Cuban military jets shot down 2 civilian planes operated by Cuban exiles. 4 people were killed. Raul Castro was the Armed Forces Minister at the time. The charges come as the U.S. ramps up pressure on the communist government in Havana. Despite sky-high oil prices around the world, U.S. President Donald Trump says he's in no hurry to solve the conflict with Iran. He's also downplaying the number of American casualties in the war.
I'm in no hurry. You never think, oh, the midterms, I'm in a hurry. I'm in no hurry. Ideally, I'd like to see few people killed as opposed to a lot. In 2 major wars, we took over Venezuela. We essentially took over Iran, and we've lost so far 13 people. Somebody else would have lost 100,000 people.
Today, the U.S. military said it boarded an Iranian-flagged commercial oil tanker on the Gulf of Oman, suspected of trying to violate the American blockade. U.S. Central Command released this video. It says the ship was searched and redirected after it was suspected of trying to head to an Iranian port. It's at least the 5th vessel to be boarded since the blockade on Iranian shipping began. The head of Canada's military has been nominated for a key position in NATO. General Jenny Carignan is a candidate for chair of the NATO Military Committee. The role serves as the main military advisor to NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. Carignan will continue to lead our armed forces during the selection process for the NATO job. She was nominated for the position by the Canadian government. Meanwhile, the head of the alliance indicated today he agrees that Canada and Europe should be doing more.
What I'm looking at is the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is going back to the American president and yesterday also the American Vice President Vance, clearly stating that they expect, rightly, for Europe and Canada to take a bigger responsibility for the conventional defense of NATO.
The Secretary General says while the U.S. will stay involved in Europe, over time more American resources will probably pivot elsewhere. The U.S. is withdrawing 5,000 troops from the continent. Still ahead, misleading maple leaves.
Classic situations of false representations or misleading advertising.
Hundreds of Canadians are calling for clearer guidelines on marketing products as made in Canada. Also next.
Nowadays, it's just so easy to get connected with different shows and such, not just like on a click on TV. You can even access it on your iPad, on your cell phone and everything.
How streaming culture is influencing tattoo choices across Canada. And there's a live look in Old Strathcona from the CTV drone flying along White Avenue on an evening that's suddenly becoming nicer by the hour. There's a warm-up on the way. Stay with us.
Programming brought to you by Alberta iGaming Corporation. For integrity, for fun, for Alberta.
Checking on the markets, the Canadian dollar holding steady near 72 cents U.S. Oil went down nearly $6, closing around $98 a barrel. Gold is up $24 on the day. On the stock market, the TSX gained 420 points. The Dow Jones is up 645. A federal agency is reporting an increase in complaints about maple washing. That's when retailers and producers try to make their products appear to be 100% Canadian in order to appeal to the growing Buy Canadian movement. CTV's Abigail Beeman reports.
Do you tend to look for origin on what you buy?
Yes, I do. I try to get Canadian.
Trade tensions with the U.S. have many shoppers looking to buy Canadian where possible, and they tell us they don't appreciate attempts to maple wash.
People are trying to sort of vote with their dollars when it comes to what they want international policy to be.
It's not fair. It's not right. I want to know where it's coming from.
The Canadian Food Inspection Agency says complaints about maple washing are on the rise. 400 since the start of 2025 when the trade war heated up.
Classic situations of false representations or misleading advertising.
Joey Zukran is one of the lawyers behind a yet-to-be-certified class action lawsuit taking aim at a string of stores with examples like a maple leaf beside a can of soup that says product of USA and tomatoes advertised as a product of Canada that say product of Mexico.
The allegations in the lawsuit are clear that this was done to, attract or touch on the sensitivity that many Canadians have shopping, especially in these times.
Not all products at Canadian grocery stores are even required to have their country of origin listed. There's no official logo for Made in Canada, and according to the CFIA's own website, a maple leaf on a product doesn't necessarily mean it's Canadian.
We need stronger penalties. We need greater enforcement.
In addition to consumer confusion, this entrepreneur lecturer says maple washing is unfair to Canadian suppliers who can lose business in the process.
Some kind of a certification mechanism would help.
Of the big retailers, only Sobeys and Loblaw responded to a CTV News request by deadline. Both acknowledged some isolated incidents they say they worked quickly to fix. Loblaw companies were slapped with 2 of the 7 fines the CFIA handed out. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
2 generic versions of Ozempic will start arriving in Canadian pharmacies this week. Health Canada approved both Dr. Reddy's and Apotex's generic semaglutide about 3 weeks ago. Apotex is based in Canada and says it began shipping its product Tuesday. India-based Dr. Reddy's says its version will be widely available in the coming days. Rexall and Shoppers Drug Marts say they expect shipments by the end of the week. Disney is facing a new lawsuit over privacy concerns at its California theme parks. The class action suit accuses Disney of improperly using facial recognition technology at Disneyland and Disney California Adventure. It's seeking $5 million in damages on behalf of guests who claim the tech was used without their knowledge or consent. Disneyland has said the claims are without merit. The parks offer some front entrance lanes that do not use facial recognition software. An Alberta tattoo artist is among several asked by Netflix about how its shows are inspiring body art. Calgary tattoo artist Alex Chen says he's seeing at least 1 client a week requesting a tattoo of their favorite character from a show on Netflix. According to a nationwide survey by Netflix Canada and Abacus Data, 9% of Canadian subscribers surveyed have a tattoo inspired by shows on the streaming service.
That people would love to get that permanently on their skin is definitely a thrill for me. But in a way, like I'm not surprised because nowadays it's just so easy to get connected with different shows and such, not just on a click on TV. You can even access it on your iPad, on your cell phone and everything.
Chen says some of his favorite work right now is designs from K-pop Demon Hunters because it's a show he also enjoys with his 4-year-old daughter. Coming up, a Canadian painter highlighting the link between sports and human rights.
If you give refugee an opportunity to be who they are, they'll become, amazing people.
A preview of the painting paying tribute to some of soccer's most inspiring stars.
We've got another great night of entertainment coming up right here on CTV, starting at 7 with E-Talk.
Thursday on Your Morning, Canadian comedian Tom Green joins us to talk about his new show, Taking Him Back to the Farm, plus why young people are leaving Canada and the role AI is playing.
Your Morning Edmonton, weekdays.
A Vancouver painter is putting the finishing touches on a World Cup tribute to some of soccer's biggest stars, including Alphonso Davies. Here's CTV's Andrew Johnson.
2 years after first picking up a brush, Carling Jackson was painting full-time. Her self-taught method boils down to this.
So I use Renaissance techniques on athletes.
But what she's working on in her downtown Vancouver studio represents something much bigger than just her brush strokes.
Germany, Canada, Bosnia, Iraq, France, Australia.
Jackson is bringing to life a symbolic soccer team for the UN Human Rights Agency, made up of pro players with refugee backgrounds, athletes whose childhoods were shaped by war, displacement, or violence before they rose to the top of the sport. They are pictured standing alongside their younger selves, which requires some guesswork by the artist.
9 of these players did not have any photos of them when they were little. So they've nothing. So this is the first time they're going to see themselves when they were little.
The team's captain is Canada's captain, Alphonso Davies, who was born in a refugee camp in Ghana 5 years before his family settled in Edmonton.
It's a place where they gave my family safety. They welcome us in with open arms. If you give refugee an opportunity to be who they are, they'll become, amazing people.
The project is a perfect fit for Jackson, whose own soccer career was ended by injury. She then paired her lifelong interest in human rights and fighting injustice with art and sport.
My goal was to be able to get to a point where I could do 50-50 human rights and sports and use the money I make from sports to pay for human rights projects.
Jackson believes she is now the most commissioned sports artist in the world.
There's not been a single woman who's made it this far, so I love that. Women are paid 4% of what men make in the art world, similar to sports.
Ahead of the FIFA World Cup, this painting will soon hang at the UN headquarters in New York, and a copy will be on display at Toronto's Union Station, part of the More Than a Game campaign, celebrating how the sport can help refugees build new lives.
When people are given safety and opportunity, they can achieve the impossible.
These 11 athletes are the proof. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
It was a cool and cloudy day today. We got to 12 for a daytime high, but we're going to get some clearing overnight tonight. And as a result, near zero tomorrow morning. I think in the city we'll stay a degree or two above the freezing mark. Outlying areas, especially off to the west and southwest of the city, could see some frost tomorrow morning. 19 and some increase in cloud tomorrow afternoon. It'll start out nice and sunny. Those clouds will start to build in after lunchtime. 21 Friday, 24 Saturday. It looks like that'll be the warmest of the next 4 or 5 days. And no heavy, steady rain in the forecast, but some scattered late day showers Friday, Sunday, Monday.
That looks like it would have made a nice long weekend, not this one we just had.
I know. This would have been this was the right weekend for it.
All right, we're out of time, Josh.
I'm done. Rant over.
Have a great night, everybody.